Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alright, so hope you guys are all well. I thought I'd just do a little live stream just for about 20 minutes or so, because then I've got to go. For those people who were maybe unable to make it for yesterday's one. Anyway, so let me know if you guys can hear. So basically I do Jumu'ah in 4 places. So every week of the month I do in different places. So I do one my local mosque, Jami Masjid Saddam. Number 2 is I do in Alam Rock, Masjid Ali. And then number 3 I do in Sutton Coldfield. And number 4 I do in Asafa. Yeah, so these are the 4 places that I do my Jummah khutbahs at. Okay, so I wanted to share something with you. I've read in this book. I showed you guys this book yesterday, remember? Yeah, so this book. So, moral compass being suppressed. This is something which is a very pertinent topic or important topic that should be discussed. Which is the idea that every single one of us inside has this natural sort of compass that Allah has built into our system, and you can see the benefits of this, like the fruit of this, for example, in the form of guilt. When you do something wrong, your body naturally, your mind, it kind of gives off alarms, and you feel that this is wrong. Or later on, looking at it retrospectively, you feel what you done was, you have regret. And also when you're about to commit certain thing which is wrong, your body kind of tells you. So this moral compass that we have, it's a very important thing. And the problem with living, for example, like in Western societies, UK for example, there's not a lot of emphasis on morals and ethics. Rather, it's all just like law basically. So everything is law. Therefore, any sort of like cheats that people can find in the law, any sort of like stratagems, healers, loopholes that people can find in laws, you're always going to do it, right? Because even though morally it's wrong, right, but you can get away with it. And Islamically, you have the importance of the inner law, the inside law, and you have the outside law as well. So the inside law, sometimes the outside law might say to you, well, you're allowed to do this. But the inside law is kind of saying to you, you know what, this thing is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this. So that kind of inner law that a person has inside of them, which we call the fitra maybe, or which we call like the moral, is it right? Should I be doing this? You question yourself. That's the kind of thing that many of us need to work on. So, do I really need to argue with this person? Do I really need to debate with this person? Do I really need to comment on this person's posts? Do I really need to, expose this person? Like, is it right? Should I really be doing this? Now, if you look at kind of like, for example, people can quote people and say, Imam Ghazali said this, or Hassan Basri said this, Umar radiallahu anhu said this. You can quote people, and then justify whatever you want to do. You'll find a quote for everything. But the thing is, sometimes morally, something is wrong. Right, and that's the kind of thing that I think a lot of us in a society are missing out on. We don't see the importance of this internal law, and the many of the scholars, I think it's Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, I think he says, I remember a long time ago already, in his commentary on 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi, he says that he said taqwa is such a thing that if people just acted on taqwa, they wouldn't need external laws. Like, they wouldn't need governance. They wouldn't need like a government, drawing the lines for everything and setting the laws. And because the inner law itself is sufficient, having the taqwa inside of yourself, having this natural sort of disposition towards good, and knowing that these are the kind of things that you need to work on. So you have this natural compass, and it needs to be. So I just want to read to you guys some passages from this book. Yeah. By the way, this is the author, yeah, Tim Marshall. I don't know if you can see this. Tim Marshall is the author. Yeah, this is the guy. So okay, I'm just going to read some things that he says. I don't like bending the pages in the book, so I'm going to try to put a piece of paper or something inside a marker. Now I've got some markers, that people have given me, but I'm so lazy in using these. So anyway, okay, so I'm just going to read some of the... So when I read a book, basically, I just put loads of lines in there and I write stuff on the side. So I don't know how you guys read books. So when I read books, I'm annotating a lot. Yeah, so... some people, they don't like touching books. They don't like writing on them. They think that it needs to be left. Inhabitants of this planet will to some degree always be shaped by the rivers, mountains, deserts, lakes and seas that constrain us all, as they always have. And I think that's a very important thing for us to remember, which is our politics, society, geography, all of this still plays a big role in how people see the world, right? And the reason I like this was because if you read the story of Surah Kahf, basically, in Surah Kahf, it's like very interesting how when Zulqarnain, he goes to that place and he kind of can't speak their language. It's very interesting how that is pointed out to us, that he couldn't understand them initially. Yeah, I think that's a very important thing to understand, how people need to take into consideration factors that make a society develop and another society to develop in another way. All right, another part, he says, I watched close at hand as the leaders of various peoples, be the Serbian, Croat or Bosniak, deliberately reminded their tribes of the ancient divisions and yes, ancient suspicion in a region crowded with diversity. So basically he was talking about the war in Bosnia that happened in the 90s. And he mentions about how the war, because the people who had cut out these borders had done it so deliberately that they knew that there would be a civil war amongst them. Yeah, that it would eventually happen. And it says that it's because of the flat-lying land. There wasn't any mountainous areas, and there wasn't like any major rivers that would stop them from crossing over. So sometimes what happens is the leaders, when they cut the lands, when they divide the lands up, they do it in such a way that they know what's going to be beneficial for a particular region and what's going to be harmful to them, right? So when Zulqarnain, he builds this, he blocks the passage between the mountains. It's like he knew that if you cut them off, he goes, eventually they'll just stop. They can't do anything to you, right? Because the natural terrain of the earth is going to stop them. Yeah, no point fighting them. Okay, he then says, the rules of geography which Hannibal, Sun Tzu, Alexander the Great all knew still apply to today's leaders. In other words, if you want to become a top general, if you want to become a top, understand political law and war, you need to understand how the terrain works and what kind of advantages the terrain will give you and disadvantages as well, right? And that's why he mentions about Russia and says that the reason why people have not been able to attack Russia by land is because there's such a big gap between all the countries and Moscow. Yeah, there's such a wide gap that Hitler tried to do it and so many other people tried to do it, but they were unsuccessful. And then he says another part. He says the invasion of Afghanistan also gave hope to the great Russian dream of its army being able to wash their boots in the warm waters of the Indian Ocean. Right, so washing their boots in the warm waters of the Indian Ocean, this was something that they wanted because they don't really have a warm water port. That's a big thing for Russia. So why is this a big thing for Russia? So he goes on to mention about how America has basically invested in all those kind of countries which are around the Indian Ocean, right? So Thailand and all those line of countries. They fund them, support them financially, for future gain. So now, if, for example, like if Russia now want to start import and export, the only way they can do it is if they get permission from, by Japan, and so they'll have to get permission through Japan and then through the American territories, countries that they kind of control, and also if they want to get through Ukraine, that was where the big issue came with Ukraine and Crimea. That piece of water is still going to be in the control of Ukraine, and then even if they want to go through other places, they got to go through Iran, they got to go through the Suez Canal. So there's so many problems that they have that it will cripple their economy if they can't get the proper import and export, and especially military. Okay, another part he says the exceptions in this rule are the stands. In other words, Russia, when it broke its pieces up, right? He says the stands like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, all the stands. He says the exception rule is. I'll read it from the beginning so you guys can understand. When the Soviet Union broke apart, it split into 15 countries. Geography had its revenge on the ideology of the Soviets, and a more logical picture reappeared on the map. One in which mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas delineate where people live, are separated from each other, and thus how they develop different languages and customs. The exceptions to this rule are the stands, such as Tajikistan, whose borders were deliberately drawn by Stalin so as to weaken each state by ensuring it had large minorities of people from other states. So, this is something which, subhanallah, how you see how they're thinking, the leaders, they'll deliberately cut the country in such a way that they will weaken the country. The country thinks I'm getting independence from Russia. But Russia knows, well, you think you're getting independence, but we've cut it in such a way, and we've transported the nationalities of one area or tribe to a different area or tribe. This is something which will eventually weaken the society, gives them disunity. So one of the things Russia has done is basically Russia has. You heard about that war that happened, in 2014, where Russia invaded Crimea, but there was a whole politics behind it, because what he says is that the Russians, what they had planned in their constitution was that anywhere where there are Russians, any area around Russia where there are Russians, Russia can invade to protect them. So what Russia has done now, it's actually put Russian blooded people, it's put them into key locations around Crimea. Why? Because they need that port. So if they've got their own people there, it means that if their own people are at threat, they find it permissible, or it warrants them to be able to attack and to invade Crimea. Yeah, hence saving the ultimate thing, which is that warm water region. So he says, from that moment, the die was cast. President Putin did not have much of a choice. He had to annex Crimea, which contained not only many Russian-speaking Ukrainians, but most importantly, the port of Sevastopol. Right, so that was another. And finally, last one. He says the Russians do have a small naval presence in Tartus on Syria's Mediterranean coast. This partially explains their support for the Syrian government when fighting broke out in 2000. So you see, them supporting Syrian regime at the moment is partly because of their interests in that piece of water. Because if they don't support, then they can't get their ships through. Then Assad's regime will just attack them. So he says this is why he's doing this. So I've reached up to here anyway, right? And maybe, I don't know if you guys are interested. If I read more, then I can give you some interesting bits on this book. Okay. All right. So anyway, wa alaikum assalam. MP, yes, I am missing Aqsa tours as well. Yes, I have your gift. Yeah, and yesterday I did mention it, but you didn't turn up. So I have your gift, and I also have brother Hisham, who I'll give for him as well. So you need to contact me. You can either email me or on Curious Cat. Just let me know your what's it, or email me better, because Curious Cat, maybe someone else will put up their address and I might send it to them. Yeah, so email me inshallah, and then I'll send it off to you. Okay, as long as you don't like live somewhere on Mars or something. Okay, what does it mean that everyone is born on fitrah? Okay, everyone born on fitrah. Basically, what this means is naturally Allah has placed inside of every human being this natural moral compass. Yeah, it's like a built-in system that can tell things which are right, which are like, for example, killing. All humans in their nature, they know killing is wrong, or for example, theft is wrong, or things like that. Wa alaikum assalam, Wasiq, mashallah, mashallah. Very long time, I haven't seen you, bro. Wa alaikum assalam, Sister Aisha Rawat. Aliyu, it's Asr time. I smiled in Salah, but I don't think I giggled or laughed if unsure a sound came out, but I know I smiled. No, your Salat is fine. Yeah, so your Salat's fine, inshallah. So if you laugh to the extent that you're audible, then your wudu Salat breaks. If you laugh, yes, FIFA is correct. That's the answer. So anything else, guys? So I have to go in a bit. I've got some guests coming. So anything interesting you guys want to tell me? Yeah, and Hisham, if you're watching as well, yeah, you email me. So a lot of gifts, yeah, for MP and for Hisham, for them winning the competition, or kind of competition. Are psychopaths born in fitrah? Allah knows best if they are. Okay, divide and conquer. We are not truly free because these borders imprison us all. Yes, true. Definitely. There are drawbacks to having these kind of borders. Okay. I mean, the thing about the fitrah is, it's not to say the fitrah will remain intact all the time. The fitrah can be warped, it can be spoiled, it can be suppressed. These are all things. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned this as well, that every child is born in fitrah, and then parents, they are the ones that shape the rest of the way they think. So that's what happens with white supremacists. That's what happens with crazy like religious extremists. It happens with them, right? So you have this. So having a fitrah doesn't mean that everyone naturally is going to be good. Anywhere you put them, they'll always be good. No, there's some people who are warped, some people who have had very bad experiences in their past, some people who have gone through all sorts of things. Yeah, so fitrah is not like the get out of jail card in every situation, right? That's why taklif means you have this responsibility on yourself. You have this responsibility that you have to make an effort to do good, right? Even if you don't want to do good, you have to make an effort to do good. And so if you look at people like Fir'aun, I mean, where's his fitrah? He's slaughtering little kids. And like Abu Lahab or Abu Jahl, Qarun, all these kind of people who are abusing other people. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic. Ahmed Masood Popal, how can I become better at i'rab? Better at Nahu? Okay, so what have you studied so far? So if you want to become better at i'rab, is basically, when it comes to Arabic, study Arabic grammar to a good level. Like for example, maybe I would say study at intermediate level at least, and then start practicing i'rab, breaking down, right? I've got loads of videos on my YouTube. You can check those out as well. And you need to sit with someone and you need to go through and then let them correct you on that. I think a lot of people, they find that difficult, that trying to get hold of a teacher that can help them, like go through it with them. Okay. Tahmeed, mashallah, Tahmeed, alhamdulillah. Where you been, bro? Yeah, you passed all your exams, yeah? Okay, if you did Mufti Taki retract his position on photography being haram, as in early years he avoided videos of him. I'm not sure, I don't know. Okay, Abu Lahab freed a slave, is that fitra? Yeah, I mean, people naturally will do good things now and again. Yeah, you know, people like maybe even dictators nowadays, some crazy people, they do some good things now and again. But just having fitra doesn't mean you're successful. That's the thing. Just having the fitra doesn't mean that you already got yourself like a go to Jannah card. Okay, Suddi, Ajurumiyya, and a bit of Qatr and Nada. Yeah, Ajurumiyya, Qatr and Nada. Okay, try to do more Qatr and Nada. I would say finish Qatr and Nada. Terate, Melor, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. How are you? How is the weather where you are? Was it, where are you in? I can't remember where you mentioned. Was it in Malaysia? Was it in Singapore? I have a question. I know scholars don't like answering questions about Jannah because we don't exactly know what it will be like, but then some things they tell us are certainties, like every woman would be with her husband over there. What if she doesn't want to? Okay, so I think a lot of people ask this. Yeah, so again, when it comes to Jannah, when it comes to the hereafter, eschatology, like they call it, the thing we have to remember about Jannah is a realm that we cannot understand in this world. The closest we can understand it is like certain things in this world which have certain resemblance with that. Yeah, that's the only thing. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, what kind of thing could you explain it as? Maybe like if you went to someone, let's say you went to someone who's living in a village and has no access to electricity and TV and nothing ever. They're living in a remote village. You know, Western world hasn't contacted them at all. No communication. And then all of a sudden, let's say, for example, you told them that there are, places in the world where people can, like a virtual world that people can go put these headsets on and they can go to a different world and they can experience all these things. It'd be very difficult, I think, to be able to try and use some sort of thing that can explain to them. So, you know, I think that's the thing. So when it comes to a husband being with a wife, it's not qat'i, it's not like something they have to be with. And, you know, obviously they're not going to be with the same characteristics of that wife or the husband in this dunya. Could be a different one. So, you know, so I wouldn't stress too much about that. I think people stress too much about this. Yeah, I remember one lady, she contacted me and she says she doesn't want to be with the husband in Jannah. She goes, I'm just living with him for the kid's sake, but in Jannah I don't want to be with him. Yeah. So yeah, there are people like that. Okay, I'm from Malaysia and it's rainy season now. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And it's raining here as well. And it's always raining season in England. Yeah, it's always raining. Some people say that being gay is in their fitrah. That's why I'm asking. Allah knows best. Yeah, Allah knows best. So should he go with what's certain? He knows for certain he smiles, but he questions if annoys. Yeah, so if you can't remember, it's fine. The salat's fine. Don't stress about it. Salat's fine. Certainty is not cancelled out by doubt. Okay, so Jazakumullah khair, guys. I'm gonna have to go in a few minutes now. My guest is about to arrive. And thank you very much again. It wasn't supposed to be a big question and answers. It was just supposed to be just meet up with the guys who couldn't make it yesterday for live stream. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So you need to give me your email. I want to message you. Oh no. Right, you got some more friends here. Some more friends want to become your friends, Sister Amina. Alright guys, so any other thing you guys want to mention? Anything interesting? No? So I mean, make dua, guys, make dua for one of my friends. His elder brother has been diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks ago and it's not looking very good. So the doctors are saying that it's looking very bad. So I think it's stage 4 cancer, and it's a very difficult thing. I mean, my granddad went through cancer, and he struggled, and he lost the battle with cancer. And so now every time I see people with members of family who are suffering cancer, then I understand what kind of pain they're going through. So it's a very difficult thing. It's the way life has been designed. Human is going to get these temporary problems, temporary illnesses. Sometimes some people get temporary problems with their health, some people with their wealth, some people with other friends, close friends and family, all sorts of things that we get tested with. But that's the thing that the Quran reminds us, that this world is temporary, this world is never meant to be permanent. The aim of life is to strive and struggle for the causes of Allah. That's the aim of life, that is. And sabr, shukr, all of these things, that's all like part and parcel of functioning as the ideal believer, the ideal human being. That's the main thing, that is. Sometimes we get caught up in small little things in life, and we think the whole of life revolves around this, and we get stressed. But when you take zoom out, you look at a bird's eye view, of whole life, and just think to yourself, what, I'm only gonna last on this earth for a few more years. A day is gonna come, you guys won't even see me. A day is gonna come, I won't see you, unfortunately. It's something which it does kind of upset people, but the thing is, it's always been the case. And Allah told the Sahaba as well that a day is gonna come when the Prophet ﷺ won't be amongst you. So imagine that would have hurt them a lot. So we have to remind ourselves all the time that we've got a small amount of time. Do the best you can in this world. Focus on the most important things in life. Focus on them. Improve yourself. Gain a skill that you can benefit the ummah, whatever that skill is. Whether it's, let's say, learning Nahu, Arabic grammar, Hadith, Tafsir, or anything else, or even things like becoming a doctor, becoming an accountant, becoming a mother, becoming a father, becoming an activist or whatever. Just become a very, very good person in society. I think that's the main thing we need to encourage people nowadays. Anyway, all right. So guys, I don't think you should be giving your numbers and emails right on this. Everyone's going to be able to see it. Have some fitrah of privacy. Yeah. Okay, so do you listen to audiobooks? Yes, I listen to loads of audiobooks. I'm actually in my phone. Here are my earphones. And everyone who knows me knows I always have these around my neck. And some people think, oh, this guy listens to music all day. Yeah. So, well, I don't. But I have these around my neck. And in my phone, I've got basically a whole library of audiobooks. A lot of them are in Arabic. So basically what I do is I listen to them. And the good thing is the phone can stop wherever. So Quran, I listen to a lot of Quran. I try to spend most of my time listening to Quran, if I'm listening to that. And I try to cover the Quran cover to cover, listening to it. I speed it up, I put it on like times 2 speed. Husari times 2. I like that. And then I can understand it. At the moment, I showed you guys my new iPad, So at the moment, I've made a section and I'm going through some surahs in the Quran and trying to see breakdown of the surah, like interesting things I'm trying to find in the surahs which I haven't come across before. So I've got like a section. At the moment, I'm going through Surah Ankabut, trying to see what the spider's web's got to do with the surah, the spider making the web, and the kind of themes, because I really believe that every single surah is so nicely knit together that it's just unbelievable. I'm trying to find that in every surah, how it all fits together perfectly, and that something in one surah cannot be used in another surah. It would be totally wrong. So that's why I'm listening to a lot of Quran on that. Anyway, so that's that. So guys, I recommend you guys get iPad, and this is the pen for the iPad. The pen, costs about £70-80. You can get this pen, and it's very good for writing. So I can like write on the screen, and it just writes as neat as writing on a piece of paper. Well, if your writing is neat, that is. And I can do lots of drawing and annotations of books, and it just saves. Alhamdulillah. So that's basically why I do audiobooks. That was the question, wasn't it? Doesn't the hadith about laughing in prayer go against qiyas and not even authentic? Yeah, so basically the Hanafis, their approach to hadith is different from the muhaddithin. So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he looks at it. He doesn't look at like the chain of a hadith. He look at whether the concept of a hadith had been accepted by the Sahaba, whether it was an accepted thing by the Sahaba and the Tabi'in, whether they knew it well. So he says that look, if they knew about laughing in salat well, even if there's a hadith and that hadith is mursal, and even a mursal is accepted according to the Hanafis, then accept it. So that's why Hanafis don't really take hadith like the muhaddithin take hadith. They actually come before this. They came before the whole concept of compiling hadith in books. So they were actually in the time of Sahaba and Tabi'in, and it was a whole plethora of evidences for them. Maybe, I don't know. I'm actually in this. Well, I'm making a whole usul hadith course. Yeah, and I mean I've done an usul fiqh as well. So anyone wants access to that, you can get it through uruk.com. Yeah, it's about 28 lessons. I go through the whole Hanafi usul fiqh, and in their section on the sunnah as well. But yeah, Hanafis have a different approach to hadith. So yes, you're right. Many scholars deem the hadith to be da'if because they follow a particular methodology, but Hanafis, they have their own. Okay, I'm craving pizza. What are you eating today, Ustad? Don't like apple. But basically, my guest is coming here. Well, he's my student, and he's just coming for some advice. And me, I don't usually give advice, but I'm a bit hungry as well. And today there's no badminton, unfortunately. The guys I go with, they've gone abroad. Unless I get like some other group that wants to play badminton last minute and they text me. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I might just go out to eat. Yeah, I might just go out to eat. We don't have such good students, mashallah. Yeah, Apple products, trust me, I don't like them. Yeah, but beggars can't be choosers. Apple just does a good job, and the pen is very good and it's very versatile. And when I give talks now and I give dars, I can just put the thing there, and it's very, very useful. And the good thing I like about Apple products is you don't need like a what do you call them, virus checker. So virus checkers, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I was just texting. The guest is coming a bit late, so you're lucky I'm on a bit more. So yeah, so it doesn't need a virus checker because viruses can't come on there. Yeah, so far, I mean, I've got no viruses, alhamdulillah. And with like other laptops, I used to get so much headaches with viruses because I download a lot of books. So the problem is when I download a book, they're usually stored in a site where someone's like put a hidden a virus or something. All about Android. Yeah, my phone is Android, so this is my Samsung. Yeah, my Android Samsung. Yeah, so phones I like Android phones. Okay, Farahi and Islahi speak a lot about coherence of Quran. Yeah, they do, and others do as well. Others do, but they don't speak as much as these guys do. So I think coherence of the Quran is a very important thing. Ania, mashallah, wa alaikum assalam. Hey, I have heard of 5 grams. I have heard mention of health concerns. What about you? I have heard of 5G. Oh, 5. I think 5 grams, like selling drugs or something. I heard about 5 grams. I was thinking, oh my God, please, yeah, don't start talking about selling drugs on my. Yeah, 5G. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm not an expert in technology, so I wouldn't be able to tell. But I heard it's very fast. Yeah, and like I was checking this review of, and the lady was saying it goes up to 1 gig wherever there's nodes. So it's not everywhere. It depends where the nodes are, like the posters for the signal. And that's, I think, the concern. because we have signals all around us all the time, and these signals are around us. They're definitely having an effect on our body. Like we've got radio signals, we've got phone signals, we've got satellite signals, we've got all sorts of things that are whizzing around us. We don't even realize it. And so this must definitely be having an effect on our body, and maybe that's one of the reasons why there's this sharp rise in cancer and other illnesses that can't be explained. Who knows? Yeah. Safaya, you are right, Ustad, being productive and not wasting. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How if I'm right, Safaya Suraya, how are you anyway? You studied at Sufa last year, didn't you? Was it last year? I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well. Do you enjoy going to the theme parks? Going theme parks, yeah, I think I do. I haven't really been for a long time, but I really like going. I like going on dangerous rides. I've actually got VR that you can go on roller coasters, and it feels so real. Trust me, guys. Yeah, get a VR if you're into this kind of stuff. Get a VR and you just put your phone into it, and you kind of as though you're on the ride, and it just takes you around, and your stomach goes up. I know. I tell you, it's just incredible. Okay, what's your favorite cereal? I think porridge maybe. I'm not too much into sugar cereals. I don't eat that much. So porridge, Weetabix, yeah. I like getting Weetabix in tea. I don't know if you guys have Weetabix in tea. So you get tea basically, and you put Weetabix inside of a tea, and you mix it, and then you kind of leave it for a while, and then you drink it. Allah, that's just next level. That's next level stuff. That is, I can't tell you guys. Yeah, next level stuff. Okay, which Usul Fiqh books did you use to make your Usul Fiqh course? So I used several. I used a book called Al-Mujiz by An-Nadawi. Number 2, I used another book called Al-Wajiz by Abdul Karim Zaidan. Number 3, I used the normal, Darsi Nizami ones like Usul Shashi and Nur Anwar. And also I used many of my notes I got from my teachers. I think that it's not like very advanced. I would say it's up to intermediate. Okay, is it obligatory upon the layman to demand to know the proof for every matter, or merely seek religious ruling from a trusted scholar without demanding proofs? Yeah, it's just fine as long as you trust the person. Yeah, trust the person. And if you do ask a dalil, then the person should try to explain it to you in the best way possible. Like sometimes some people ask me a dalil. Now, answering a dalil, right? Answering a dalil sometimes, right? Explain the dalil. It requires me to explain so many different sciences just to explain that one dalil. So people sometimes think, when they think, oh, what's the dalil? They're expecting an ayah of the Quran or a hadith or a statement of a sahabi to prove it. But that's not always the case. Fiqh is just so layered with different things that, just like, yesterday I mentioned about the eating with the left hand. And some of you guys got a bit shocked and thinking, Hanafi say it's only makruh tanzihi, as in it's not haram, it's just something which is better not to do. And so, or for example, standing up and drinking water, Imam Muhammad says it's better not to do, but it's not sinful if you stand up and drink water or stand up and eat. So it's like, what's the reason for this then? So it's like, well, I've got to explain certain things before I can explain the reason. Let me educate you on certain points. And then once you get educated on those points, then you come to the dalil. Now, I can't do this with everyone, because it's like, if everyone's going to ask me that, then I'll have to spend so much time in just explaining things. So what I do now is I think to myself, you know what, I'll make a note of this, I'll make a video on it, and then I'll just say to them, right, watch this video. I'll explain it in the video. So I think from now on, I think I'll have to do that for a lot of things. And I'm thinking of maybe making like short videos. I did start in the past, Hanafi style, like just Hanafi dalils for things, and just show people how Hanafis come to their conclusions. I think bite-sized ones. I think that would be very, very useful for a lot of people, because people, they kind of don't sometimes see the kind of the intricate nature of fiqh and usul as well, how usul works. And to many people, it's just a matter of black and white, yes and no. What's the Quran say? What's the Hadith say? And it doesn't work like that. All right. Next, Ustad, is that your book collection in the book racks? Yes, that's my book collection, and I got some more. And what I'm gonna do, I think, is in a sofa where I teach. There's actually a whole library they have. New set of books have come in as well, and I think I might do like a tour of that library slowly. Maybe just do like a series, just covering some books and showing you guys what those books are. Because I don't really have much books. I don't really have much space as well, and they're quite expensive. So I prefer to have a lot of books on PDF form. Terati ask for a book review, please. MashaAllah, MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Oculus Rift VR looks really cool. Yeah. I've got Oculus. I haven't got Rift. I've got the Oculus VR. Cereal and tea is a common in everyday home. Yep. Apparently, some fiqh books mention people can marry and even have sex with jinns. Is this true? You see, these kind of things that the books of fiqh mention, you have to understand it's based upon like the popular science that was out in them days. Yeah, so popular science that was out in them days, and so it's like in them days they used to believe that this interaction can happen between humans and jinn, and they can have sexual intercourse and have children. This was like a popular belief in them days. And so based on popular belief, sometimes a scholar may give a fatwa. Like, for example, if it's popular belief that the earth is flat, you'll see scholars giving fatwas based upon that. Or if it's popular belief that your body functions on the four humours, blood and black and bile and etc. and mucus, so you're gonna base a fatwa, a reasoning on that. So when books of fiqh are not supposed to be there for the layperson, right? And this is the danger of when the layperson gets access to books of fiqh and they don't have any previous training. They can read something and it just sounds so absurd, it makes Islam look silly. And then they think to themselves, look how silly these scholars were. It wasn't the scholars weren't silly, the scholars were answering people's questions based upon the understanding of sciences and customs and norms in them days. So is Usul Bazdawi good if you've done some Usul Fiqh? Yeah, so Usul Bazdawi, basically Nur Anwar, and these kind of books are based upon the Usul Bazdawi. So Usul Bazdawi is like, there's actually another book, Bazdawi's brother. So Abu al-Usr, he's Bazdawi, Fakhr Islam al-Bazdawi. And then he has a brother called Abu al-Yusr, and he has a book called Al-Hujaj al-Shari'ah. Al-Hujaj al-Shari'ah. This is a very good book. I would suggest you read that. Yeah, very nice to follow, very easy to follow. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Salams. Juma Mubarak. Juma Mubarak to you. Stop crying. Yeah. Patient. Oh, I like that way you done that. P47. That looks like a number plate. Yeah. Sometimes when you're driving the car and you see someone's number plate, your mind is trying to figure out what they're trying to say. Sometimes it's easy, straightforward. Yeah. Like someone will say something. Like there's one guy who lives near where I live, and he's got like a number plate. You are story. So I'm trying to think to myself, is that you are story or your story? Yeah, or a story. It's like, okay. Juma Mubarak to you as well. Alhamdulillah, I'm well. I'm continuing with Tajweed and lives of Sahaba. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, mashallah. May Allah put barakah in your time and your efforts. Okay, request a video on the Salah of Masbooq, how to join prayer. Yeah, I think that's an important thing, A lot of people have that issue. So yeah, I think I'm hopefully, I keep saying this to you guys, next week hopefully I'm getting a camera, because every time I go to the shop to get a camera, I've been like 3 or 4 times now, I leave without actually getting one, because I kind of see another one and then I have to find out about these. So it's a very kind of like a big headache. So inshallah, hopefully next week I should get a camera. Once I get a camera, hopefully then I can start making more videos like that. Okay, that's the number plate I want to get. May Allah get you that number plate, bro. Okay, FIFA. Apparently early Hanafi fiqh was heavily influenced by Mu'tazili usul. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I haven't really come across it being heavily influenced. Definitely there's some sort of influence there. You get influence in everything. But I wouldn't say heavily influenced. What do you think about Masar Usul by Sheikh Salah Abul Hajj? I haven't seen it, I've heard of it. Yeah, I mean his books are very good to get. I would recommend you get any of his books. Yeah, and if he's written Masal Usul, I think you should get it. Yeah, it'd be very good. The main thing about Usul, let me tell you, the main thing about Usul, guys, if you want to study Usul fiqh, it's like Nahu. You can study all the books you want. Application is the most important thing. If you can study Usul and then take any verse of the Quran and apply all the Usul you understand, right? I think you've mastered Usul. But if you learnt all the books, but it's just all theoretical, and when the time comes, put a hadith in front of you and say, okay, take all the Usul out from this, and you can't do it, then pointless. It's like someone who studied all the books of Nahu, but you put the Quran in front of him or her, and they can't apply any Arabic Nahu to it. So what I suggest, Nahu, Sarf, Balagha, Usul, Al-Fiqh, Usul, Hadith, these are what I call skill learning sciences. I think you need to be able to apply these. You need to get trained in applying these. Once you're trained in applying these, then it's very, very amazing. Have you read Usul Karhi and Usul? Yeah. So I've read Usul Karhi. Yeah, it's not that big. It's very small. And Jassas. Yeah, I've read parts of Jassas. Yeah. So they're not heavily influenced by Mu'tazila. Yeah, I disagree. They're not. In fact, the Shafi Usul is called Mu'tazili Usul. Yeah, and that's where there was this big difference. So it's like, the Shafis, their approach was the Mutakallimin approach, the Mu'tazili approach was known as. Mu'tazila took this approach, and it was very kind of like very rational orientated, as in you want to try and understand the epistemology of everything and then understand where this plays a role in Islam. Whereas the Hanafis weren't like that. The Hanafis just took the original texts, the Quran, the Hadith, and the Sahabas, Fatwas, etc., and they derived usul within those. So they didn't take like an external usul and apply it. The Hanafis worked internally from ground up. Yeah, whereas them guys, they actually worked from the outside, developed a science of rational thinking, and then applied it mostly to usul fiqh. That's where it differs. But usul Jassas and Karhi, very good. Yeah. This was what we call the early Hanafi. Then in the 600s, 700s, Hanafi usul got merged with Shafi usul, and so they both, now the later usul books are a merger of. There was a guy called Badi'un Nizam. He actually was one of the early scholars of Hanafi to this. Okay, can you do a video applying usul to Quran ayah so I can see what you mean? Yeah, actually that'd be a good idea, Yeah, I think, let me make a note of that. Let me just make a note, because I have all this list of ideas. Yeah. Yeah, so let me just read some of the ideas that I've had. So apply usul fiqh Quran and Hadith. Alright, so let me tell you some of the ideas that I actually put in my phone. So this is like ideas for my channel. Correcting people's Arabic videos, real-time translations, reading out text with script on screen, seerah, business videos, meaning business and trade, fiqh videos, synonymous words of the Quran, mutashabihat of the Quran, seerah from the Quran. Why does Abu Hanifa fiqh series, like the why does Abu Hanifa fiqh series? Why do the Hanafi say this? Why do the Hanafi say? Why does Abu Hanifa say? I'm going to do a whole series on that. Hanafi madhab history, the history of the Hanafi madhab. Inshallah, there's one called Inshallah. Fatiha made up of all Bismillah letters. So this was something I wanted to show as well, that all the letters of Bismillah, 19 letters of Bismillah, you can actually find all of them in Surah Fatiha. Right, so I wanted to show something like that. Muta'alliqs in jar, things that are unchanged in fiqh causing problems in new times, like khutbah in Arabic. So this was like something that I wanted to work on, which is in Hanafi fiqh, those things that are unchanged throughout the years, but now they're causing problems, even though they're not qati. Consistency in the Quran. I wanted to do a series on the consistency in the Quran. Inconsistency of kufr. Explain why can't have bid'ah and why beliefs are wrong. So I want to do a whole series of why bid'ah is wrong, and show from the Quran point of view as well, and hadith. Apply usul fiqh. I did that. So these are some of them ideas I've been putting up. So were Hanafis influenced by Mu'tazila and Aqidah? Because I've heard that a lot too. No, they weren't, by. They were influenced by Mu'tazila and Aqidah. I mean, if you say influence as in a reaction to Mu'tazila, yeah, then that's true. In response to Mu'tazila, many Hanafis did come up with positions. Yeah, and that's been the case with, like, if you read Aqidah Tahawiyah, you can see that Mu'tazila actually came were like very in their prime in the 200s. That was after Abu Hanifa. So Abu Hanifa didn't have really any sort of like exposure to Mu'tazila. Yeah, Khawarij definitely, but not Mu'tazila. Mu'tazila came later on after the, Imam Muhammad, even after him. Okay, Muhammad Irfan, mashallah, nice to see you. What are the 12 rakats of Sunnatul Mu'akkada? So the 12 rakats of Sunnah Mu'akkada are 2 in Fajr, 4 before Zuhr, 2 after Zuhr, 2 after Maghrib, and 2 after Isha. So you got your 5 hands here. So 2 Fajr, 4 before Zuhr, 2 after Zuhr, 2 after Maghrib, 2 after Isha. These are considered, according to majority of Hanafis, to be the Sunnah Mu'akkadas. Is it haram to buy cryptocurrency and trade? I mean, not really. Yeah. If it's something like Bitcoin, it's fine. I heard Bitcoin's going up, as I was thinking of buying it myself. I met this guy in Palestine, and this guy was explaining to me, he was there for about an hour or so, explaining why I need to buy cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Yeah, it's the future. So anyway, yeah. So you can buy it. I mean, technically you can buy it. The only problem I would say is you need to look at the terms and conditions of a cryptocurrency itself. So sometimes there's lots of scams that people do. So they'll develop like an idea and they'll say, oh, it's a cryptocurrency, and people will buy into it, and then all of a sudden they'll take all the money and then it crashes. So I would say avoid that, because that's something which is, what we call a gharar, something which is dubious. And okay, I came across a Sahih hadith in Sahih Khuzaymah which includes 2 rakats before Asr and excludes 2 rakats after Isha to be Sunnatul Mu'akkada. Yeah, some of the Hanafis have said 2 before Asr, but I mean, a lot of the late Hanafis have said that it's only those are the 12 ones. Yeah, so there's difference. For example, like, some may add some extra ones before Isha, some may add some there. So the common explanation of the hadith of the 12, whoever prays 12 rakats every day, Allah will build for them a palace in Jannah, is understood as those. How come certain imam recite Quran different to others? I mean, what do you mean, like in different tone? I mean, I need your email. Can you message privately through YouTube? Just email to me and I'll email to her. Yes, email to me. Or just Curious Cat. Just Curious Cat it. Yeah, send it to Curious Cat now. And Sister MP. And I'll pass it on. My email is learningdeen@gmail.com, and the deen, instead of 2 E's, 2 3's. Yeah, so learningdeen, all one word, @gmail.com, and the word deen, the 2 E's are 3's. Yeah, so learningdeen@gmail.com. Okay. Hello, Angela Smith. How are you today? How is this beautiful rainy day? I don't know. Are you in England? Yeah, are you enjoying the nice, wonderful British rain? Alhamdulillah. Yesterday I did a small barbecue. Yeah, there was some qurbani meat. Yeah, so basically I've got this little kind of chimney. I do. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, learning deen. That's it. So it's a little chimney. I put maybe 10 pieces of coal in there, light it up, and then put this iron plate on top, and then just get the qurbani meat, put it in, a bit of salt on it, bit of olive oil on there, bit of black pepper on there, let it rest there for about 15-20 minutes, then get it, and then on a sizzling metal plate, just put it on there, and you can hear it burn. You can hear the the meat cooking, it just sounds so nice, and that fat, the smell of the fat, and then, guys, I'm hungry, as you can tell, and that's what I done yesterday. But unfortunately today it's raining, as you can see, and I cannot do a barbecue. Is buying a suit to wear once then returning allowed? This question was asked before, and I said that, I mean, although according to the terms and conditions of the shop, it would be fine. Yeah, so if you're not satisfied with something, they'll tell you you can return if you're not happy with it, as long as it's not damaged. So based on that, it would be fine. But I mean, morally, I don't think it would be a nice thing to do. And personally, I would never do that. Yeah, I never ever do that. I mean, I'll buy it because if it's like obviously like a big kind of like outlet shop, and they don't have any issue, then it wouldn't be a problem. If it's a small shop, and I know some people find it difficult, so I mean, I'll just buy it. But terms and conditions. Trade is all to do with terms and conditions. Okay, is an address to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed to the entire ummah? Depends. It could be, yeah, in many of the verses, and some of the verses no. Isha Jamaat time at South India now. See you after Isha. Well, you probably won't see me because I'm going to be off. But alhamdulillah, remember your du'as, Muhammad Irfan. And du'as all for you for these beautiful people as well. Kamran, not the tone like when reciting Surah Fatiha, Sirat al-Mustaqim and Sirat, yeah. Sirat al-Mustaqima. As in, they don't stop. Sirat al-Mustaqim and Sirat al-Mustaqima. I mean, it depends. There might be a qira'ah. I mean, generally it's the ikhtilaf is in the Sirat, Sirat, Zirat. There's like 3 ways it can be read. And this is based on the different qira'at that's been passed down by the early Sahaba and Tabi'in. You are making me hungry now. That was the point. That was the idea. And so I 1 point to me. Yeah, Avim al-Ustad, are you into gardening? Not really. I'm not much into gardening. Maybe when I got old and I've got no students to teach and no books to read, maybe. What's your favorite? I like drawing, yeah, and I like drawing nowadays. So I'm into drawing a lot of things. What's your favorite? I like challenging myself in drawing different things. What's your favorite fruit? Favorite fruit? Oh, I told you about that fruit in Palestine, yeah? It's called a cactus pear. Look it up. A Palestinian cactus pear. And the Israelis call it an Israeli cactus pear. Right? As if the pear's only been there from 1945, yeah. MashaAllah. So, Palestinian cactus pear. Yeah, trust me, it's got all these needles, but it's nice inside. It's like a dragon fruit inside. But outside, it's got all these needles on there, and they get stuck in your fingers. And taking them, when you like rub your hands together, it just feels like, you know, when you get static electricity. Imagine constantly having that. So that was I like lots of fruit. I mean, I like berries, I like bananas, I like kiwis, I like jackfruit. You know, my recently nice fruit, I like jackfruit. So guys, if you want to get me jackfruit, and another thing, a dessert I like is doi. So if any of you guys are Bengali, you guys know that doi, yeah, is top of the list, guys. Yeah, top of the list. So if you want to get me any sort of dessert nowadays, I'm into doi. So Tahmid, if you're watching, bro, yeah, make some doi and bring it in, because I'm totally into doi. And if you don't know what doi is, then well, that's it. Okay. What is the best resource? Are you allowed to wear a silk tie? I mean, see, the issue with the silk is that if the silk is a small amount, then yes. And I think a tie would be considered to be a small amount of the clothing, entire garment. Just be a small amount. So they allowed small patches having designs of silk. So I think the silk tie would be considered to be very insignificant. The prohibition of silk is when it's majority of your clothing. Yeah. So I would say it's fine. What is the best resource for new Muslims to understand all rules? It's difficult, guys. I mean, what I would suggest is if you go onto IERA website, IERA website, type that in, and they've got a whole, database of stuff. Yeah, check them out. But it's difficult for me to say what would be good for a new Muslim, because it's like I'm obviously, you know, not in that position to experience the things that, you know, new Muslims have experienced. So I would say check that out, and if there's anyone else that knows some good resources, then, you know, by all means. But yeah, IERA is a very good, professional organization as well. A lot of free literature. Would you recommend Al-Manar and Nur Anwar over Usul Shashi? I think both are good. Both are good. Yeah, Usul Shashi is a good for it as a beginner, but it depends how it's taught. Yeah, depends how it's taught. So on my patrons get access to my Usul Shashi, and inshallah this year they're going to get access to Nur Anwar as well. Inshallah, I'm going to do. So the way I teach it, I try to make it very interactive, try to make it very easy to understand, friendly, fiqh based, lots of application as well. Okay, Seekers Hub, Sister Angela, try out Seekers Hub. Yeah, Seekers Hub, check them out, very good, mashallah. Sheikh Faraz Rabbani and Sheikh Yunus, Sheikh Salman Yunus and others. Yeah, very good source. So Seekers Hub, Canada. I'm a fan of pomegranate. Yeah, pomegranate's good. Only thing is that pomegranate is like two problems. One is trying to break it open and get all the seeds out. I think that's very sort of like time consuming. And the second is, you know, if it like falls on your, the juice falls on like white clothes, then you had it. Okay. Right, my guest hasn't come yet. It's been like 35 minutes, man. Okay. Okay, pomegranates. Doi, yeah. So you know, how do you say? Is it doi? Doi, isn't it? I'm saying it right, isn't it? Doi. Yeah, doi, Yahya. Ami doi balubasha. Safaya Suraya Bengali here. I make homemade doi. Yes, I mean, why didn't you tell me you make homemade doi when you used to study at Sofa? You should have brought it in now. Unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to imagine it. What's doi? I need to try it. Yeah, I'm afraid I can't explain what doi is. Yeah, it's one of those things like, you know, you can't explain everything in Jannah. It's like one of those ones. Okay, Mishti doi is Bengali sweet yogurt. Sweet and sour. I like sweet. Not sour, please. Seekers Hub, mashallah. Have you met Sheikh Abdul Majid before? Sheikh Abdul Majid, the one from London. Yeah, I think I gave a talk once in a mosque, and he was there as well. He was a co-speaker on the panel. So I met him just briefly. If that's him, normally they study Usul al-Shashi, then Al-Manar, then Husami, then Tawdih Talwi, and then Musallam al-Thubut and Dars al-Nizam. Can you explain foods, what is forbidden to eat? Jazakallah khair. Yeah, so can you explain what foods are forbidden? All foods are halal. Remember this. According to Hanafis, all foods are halal apart from swine, pig, absolutely no. Any animal that has claws or fangs, basically, it's a predatory animal that attacks other animals. Can't eat that. And number 3, any animal that has not been slaughtered in the correct manner. So correct manner meaning it's been slaughtered by a Muslim or a Christian or Jew. That's allowed. And besides those animals, everything in the sea is allowed according to Hanafis, which is considered to be a fish. And all insects are prohibited. Khalas. Yeah, so let me say that again. So all animals are allowed by default, except for pigs. No way. Pigs and boars, etc. Anything that's a pig. Number 2 is any animal that has claws, fangs, that predatorial. Any animal that has not been slaughtered in the correct manner. And number 4 is in the sea, everything's allowed everything is allowed that comes under fish, so fish shape animal. And number 5 is insects, no. And that's it. Yeah, those are the main things. Okay, so Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Yeah, so did I say it right? Ami doi balobasho. Obviously I probably messed it all up. There was this guy once in it. He was studying in Pakistan. There was a madrasa called Raiwand, and he was studying then. He was from Guyana, right, which is in South America. So one day he goes up to his teacher. So he didn't know Urdu. He's like learning it. So he's watched a lot of Indian films, Bollywood. So he goes up to his teacher and he says, "मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ." Yeah. So he said to his teacher, "मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ." So the teacher was like looking at him, thinking, "Oh, what the hell's happened here? Like, what's happened?" So you're not supposed to say to someone, basically, you're not supposed to say to someone, "मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ." Yeah, pyar is more like kind of like an intimate sort of love. Yeah, like between a husband and wife, etc. That kind of love. And so he used that word because he's heard it so much in Indian films. He's kind of, super, you can say, imposed that meaning onto all love, and he thinks that's basically how it's done. So unfortunately, that ijtihad didn't work. Okay, so gulab jamun and doi together is the best combo. Yes, okay, that's it now. Please stop because I'm getting one of those brain freezes, imagination brain freezes. Okay, yeah, that's him. Kunafa, yeah. So I've made a video in Palestine of kunafa, eating 3 or 4 different types of desserts. I'm gonna inshallah edit it and I'll put it up and I'll show you guys what I think of kunafa. Would you say it's better than ras malai? It depends who makes ras malai. If my mum makes ras malai, yeah, no one can beat that. Yeah, if my mum makes ras malai, sorry, and the milk has to be from freshly just come out from the cow, that kind of milk, or buffalo milk. Yeah, fresh, not like pasteurized or anything. No kind of chemicals put into it. Ras malai is good. Okay, same level, I think. I've been raised eating a ras malai, so I'm kind of over it. Okay, I found no, it's not like ras malai. Bhai, it's not ras malai. Were you guys coming out with your own? Okay, yes, you said you love to eat doi. That's right. Alhamdulillah. Do you just say animals that are slaughtered by Christians and Jews are halal? According to many scholars, yeah. According to Hanafis, the Christians and Jews have to slaughter and say the name of God, basically. Yeah. But many of the Hanafis say the name of Allah, as he mentions, and others they say no, it doesn't have to, as long as it's just been slaughtered by them. Did you just say animals that are slaughtered by Christians and Jews are halal? Yeah, animals slaughtered by Christians and Jews are halal. So they have to be slaughtered, by the way. Blood has to come out when they cut the neck. This explanation from poem, same as word. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Alright guys, so I guess still hasn't come yet, and I'm here talking to you guys. Right, so Sister Amina, you've sent an email, but unfortunately I haven't got an email from MP yet. Yeah, I haven't got an email from MP. I have just received one email. Ya Allah. Okay, so I'm feeling a bit tired as well. So normally I'll be getting ready to go badminton, but unfortunately there's no badminton today. Okay, you'll email later, that's fine. Yeah, so remember, Hisham, if you're watching, yeah, make sure you email as well, because you need to get your prize. I need to send your prize out to you. Yeah, so I'm going to inshallah do some more competitions here for you guys, and I'm going to send you some stuff, my own prize kind of things that I have. I'm going to send you some of those things, and maybe some books as well. Right, so be ready for competitions. Yeah, so make sure you're good at googling as well, because some of them might be to do with Google. Strawberry Nutella waffles, all fake. Alright, you're into kind of fake stuff, yeah, mashallah. Okay, Sheikh, I don't understand the hand slaughtered versus machine slaughtered debate in halal. More poems, yeah? So you like those poems? Okay, inshallah. I'm thinking, I might move on from Umar ibn Abi Rabi'ah, because Umar ibn Abi Rabi'ah is basically, he talks a lot about ghazal poetry, romantic poetry, about women and all that. And the only reason I do, not because I'm into kind of talking about romantic poetry, is because he was considered to be a significant authority when it comes to Arabic language. So because he's significant, that means whenever he speaks about something, his poems can be used in establishing rules of Arabic grammar. So that's why it's very important and to memorize it as well. So after him, I'm going to move on to another. I'm going to most likely move on to Abu Nawas. So Abu Nawas is another one. I'm going to move on to him, inshallah. So yes, I'll be continuing poetry, inshallah. That's my passion at the moment. Where have you studied Islam? So I studied Islam in Pakistan, Karachi, for 9 years. Okay, so the whole debate, slaughter and machine, I mean, it's a long thing. Inshallah, if you remind me in the next live stream, I'll try to discuss it because it requires mentioning certain things as well. It's one of those questions. Okay. A woman poet, yes. Okay, yes. There are some very famous Sahabiyat poets. Khansa is one of them. Yeah, and she has some very good poems as well. So Khansa, and there's many others as well. Female poetry, there's quite a lot. You get a lot of female poets. So anyway, yeah, my stomach is rumbling, and this guy is still not come yet. Yeah, the words are good. However, what you need to focus on in Arabic poetry is not just the words. You need to focus on the concepts they used to understand in them days. Like, for example, in today's culture, there's many phrases that we say, and we have like a culture. For example, like we say, "Get the lights." So, if you use in today's like language, you say to someone, "Get the lights," it can be understood in today's society. But if 500 years time, someone reads like old English, like 21st century English, and says, "What do they mean? Get the lights, get the lights." Right? So because different societies use different words for lights. For example, like in Pashto, the language I speak, my mother tongue, in there we say things like "kill the light." I think, did they say "kill the light" as well? Yeah, I think it's "kill the light" in English as well, isn't it? Kill the lights. But maybe they got it from somewhere else. And that's because in Pashto, because it's a very tribal sort of language, very kind of village, and they used to have lights which were in the form of candles. So they used to say "kill the light," as in kill the flame. And that's, Arabs don't say that. They don't say "kill the light." Right? So it's not an Arabic expression. So once you master the expressions and you've understood them thoroughly, you can... yeah. Okay, I'm coming. Alright, so I think my guest has come. So I will have to go now. Right? Jazakallah khair, and thank you very much, and I will see you all guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Make dua guys. I'll go to a nice place to eat. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.